Hello everyone, welcome back to another photo mishmash. I am Christina.
And I'm Toby.
And this is episode 39.
Quirky. This week we're going to talk about a mathematical formula that tells you when it's time to upgrade. 7D Mark II sensor. More information, the best from Canon yet. And do all of my bits about this podcast end in questions? Is Christina ready to jump to Nikon? We're certainly getting nervous about the 5D Mark
IV. So welcome everybody, and we hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Those who celebrate Thanksgiving.
Those who celebrate Thanksgiving. Full of food.
All the rest of you, we hope you had a wonderful Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. And friends and family. We had a really nice Thanksgiving.
Ate a lot.
We did. So we want to give a shout out to our friends at MishMash Photography Academy, who, as you guys know, are taking us to Greece in September. We are going on a trip, on a photographic trip to Greece in September, and we're really, really looking forward to it. So if you haven't signed up and you're interested, I believe there are a couple spots left.
There's a couple spots left, yep.
Registration has closed. Well, they've sold out of the other two trips that are coming up, which are the Montana trip.
Yep, in January.
And Iceland.
Yep.
The ones that we or you are going to be a part of anyway.
That's right.
Because they have lots of other trips.
That's right. They do. I think they're Czechoslovakia.
Republic.
Czech Republic. And what else? What else is part of that trip? Kind of the Alps and that area, gorgeous mountain scenery. I believe that trip has a space available, but we won't be on that. So you're welcome to go on it, but you'll miss us, I'm sure. So sign up. Come along with us. These are going to be fantastic trips. Greece has been on your bucket list for quite a long time. When you found out MishMash Photography Academy was going, you were quite excited, and the fact that we're going is very nice.
Yep.
Why? Why Greece?
It's just a beautiful country.
It's a beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Good. What cameras are you going to bring?
I don't know.
You haven't thought that out yet?
Nope.
Okay. You better start planning. September 2015. It's right around the corner.
All right, so let's move on to the week in review. We're going to talk about, I guess B&H has published a list of the most popular items sold on Black Friday. So that's
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
No, it does say Black Friday.
Black Friday on the rundown.
According to them, this was their Cyber Monday sales. Sorry about the Black Friday typo. And I think it's interesting to just walk through. They've got it categorized by DSLRs, full frame, APS-C, mirrorless. So let's run through real quick. And I am recording my screen. Great. So do you want to make a guess at what camera was the full frame, most popular full frame camera sold on Cyber Monday from B&H? But I think this is pretty indicative of probably the greater sales across all of the different camera places.
5D Mark III.
Nope. It's a Nikon. Want to guess again?
D750.
It is the D750. So body only D750 was the top selling full frame camera on Cyber Monday. I am not very surprised. It is a sweet camera. The review unit I have is sitting over there on the shelf. I need to get that review out so I can get it back and get the NX1. It is a really nice full frame camera. Really happy with the sensor. Love the articulating screen. It does have a few quirks.
Pretty quirky in video mode.
That's Nikon's. They are just quirky. Doesn't mean that they can't put out gorgeous video. They're just not as fun to work with as Canon. And I'm not saying that as a Canon fanboy. You can't change ISO. You get other things change when you move into live view and back out of live view. Little quirky things. Certainly can be worked around. I still enjoy shooting video with it as long as I remember to make sure I got my ISO at where I want it to be moving in. The next most popular camera on the list, Nikon D810. It's a beast of a camera. I know some people sell on their 810s for the 750 because the 750 gives them everything that they need. But the 810, it's got that 36 megapixel, no low pass filter. So really sharp, very similar to the Sony A7R sensor. because Sony's making this Nikon sensor as well, or the Nikon sensors for the Nikon cameras. So really nice. Then we got the D750 with lens. I'm testing it with a 24-120 and the Sigma 50, and that's a nice lens. Then comes the EOS 60, which makes sense. You know, really nice price point, down to $15.99, body only right now, with some deals. Then comes the 5D Mark III, then the 610, 6D, 5D Mark III, and on down the list. Down it goes. Okay.
Oh,
So,
well, I wasn't super surprised. I mean, I wasn't shocked because it is a really nice camera, but I do complain. I will continue to complain about the video quirks because
it works. Whenever you have to help me
really
set up,
obnoxious.
they are. They're obnoxious. But I think this is interesting. Now, well, this is DSLRs, not mirrorless. Let's switch over to APS-C. Want to make a guess for the top-selling APS-C camera?
Fuji. X.
This is DSLR still, so
okay.
something more traditional.
Canon T5i.
The Nikon D3200.
All right, Nikon.
So now this is an older model, so super budget, $496 gets you the D3200 with the 18-55 and the 55-200. Now I was talking with our friend Nathan this morning, a part of an interview that you all will probably see next week. I'm calling it a second opinion, Fuji X-T1. He was one of the instructors on the McKay Photography Academy in Italy. He walked around, he shot the whole couple of weeks with just a Fuji X-T1. I say just, but absolutely more than capable camera. And I was quite jealous at times of his lighter weight bag and camera. And we were talking about, you know, somebody who's starting out, mirrorless or traditional DSLR, and the Fuji X-T1 is very nice pro level, but it's not a cheap camera. You can step into a camera that can give you professional level results, and it gives you room to grow
at under $500.
At under $500. So, I mean, it's, you know, that's a lot. Now you might say, well, these lenses, right, those lenses aren't great, but then you get yourself a 35 prime. And folks who, we're going to come back to this when we talk a little bit about when it's time to upgrade that's in the reader questions section, I think. But, you know, if no one's paying you, if this is just a hobby, I certainly know that it is fun to have new bodies and things like that, but these older cameras with a couple nice lenses, they are all you need, and it's very unlikely that it's holding you back. You're probably holding the camera back still. So, then the Nikon D7100, because it had a price drop right around Black Friday, $100 or $200 drop, so it's selling at $896. Very nice camera. I think for a lot of people, the D5300 is fine. Then comes the EOS 7D Mark II, so the third best-selling camera. Again, it's got that little bit of a bump because it's fairly new. I have to say, a lot of people are negative, including me, and some disappointment early on. I really miss the articulating screen, you know, when I'm using it and trying to do more landscape type shots. But it feels wonderful in the hand. It is incredibly capable focusing. There's a lot to like about that camera. Certainly some features that missing some features that disappointed people. But then comes the T5i, which, you know, is sitting at a pretty sweet price right now, 18-55 lens for $699. And then the T3i and the T3i, a different package, with a 75-300 lens. That's not a good lens. Not a good lens. Then the T5. I get a lot of questions about the T5. Actually, I think somebody asked me about a T5 and I forgot to answer them. You know, I picked the T3i over the T5. The T5 is that kind of dumbed down, you don't have an articulating screen. I don't think it offers anything, and the T3i is a better option for most people. Then we got the D3300, 70D. You know what we haven't hit on here yet? We haven't seen a single D5300, have we? We're down to the Pentax, a Canon 70D. So again, 70D not selling very well compared to these other cameras there. I'm a little surprised by that. The Canon 7D, the old 7D, is actually selling better than the 70D, and the list goes on. There really wasn't a D5300 on here, or did I miss it? Not on the first page. Let's go to page 2. Page 2, we got the 60D, the D5200. That sensor is capable, but lens-wise. And then we're down in the middle of page 2. We've got the D5300. For D5300, I really like that camera. I think for a lot of people, I find myself recommending that more than the T5i often these days because the sensor is very nice. It fixed many of the quirks that the D5200 has. It comes with a better kit lens. It's a little bit smaller and lighter. So, trying to compete with mirrorless. Speaking of mirrorless, #1 best-selling mirrorless camera. You will not guess it because I barely count it as a mirrorless.
GH4.
Everybody was listening to the audio thing said, did something just break? Not the GH4. The Nikon 1S1.
Oh, geez, really?
Yep. Now, it's got a little sensor in there. It's mirrorless. When, I show my ignorance here, when does something get called a mirrorless versus a point and shoot?
Is there a point and shoot list?
There is a point and shoot list.
Oh, strange.
But maybe just because Nikon calls this a mirrorless, I'll have to look that up or put it in the comments and teach me. But $150 for, I mean, they're not bad cameras. They've been out for a while now. They never really sold wonderfully here in the States, but 150 bucks, can't deny that. Then the Sony a5000. I took the a5100 to Italy with us. We liked it for the most part. Again, it had a few issues that all these kind of smaller cameras do, but really nice sensor. An a5000 for $298. Again, it's basically the size of a point and shoot, a big point and shoot. For $300, you can get an APS-C size sensor in there. Then the A6000, which is my top pick for general mirrorless cameras this year. I need to still do my little recommended list. I've got the kind of list done, but it's just great. All around, parents, you want to grab something and take decent pictures of your kids, decent video of your kids. You don't want to carry around a DSLR, the A6000. You got it right there. 600 bucks, not bad. Then comes our friend, the GH4, which also had a price drop, I think, last week. Although they're saying maybe that price drop here doesn't look like it's permanent, but I think it's going to be. $1497. So for just under $1,500, you get the body only. Very nice camera. I'm still tempted. I would love to make it just my studio camera and have it just sitting there fairly permanently. Then a couple more A6000s, 5000s, and then the Sony Alpha A7 II is on this list, even though it's only available for pre-order at $1698 with that. We talked about this in the last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago, the sensor shift, so all stabilization. Then the A7S, and then the Fuji X-T1. So those Sony's dominating the charts, the mirrorless charts, with the 5000s and 6000s. Point and shoot, we're not going to go through all of these because I've been talking too much, but, well, see, this is interesting to me. The LX100 is sitting on the point and shoot list, which if the Nikon is on the mirrorless list, I think the LX100 should be on here. But interestingly enough, the LX100 is beating the RX100 III. I really want to get my hands on the LX100. That's that micro four thirds sensor in there with a fixed lens.
That's not what I'm looking at.
What the Sigma Quattro funny thing?
What is that?
Those are those funny Sigma cameras that, you know, have strange form factors. Let's go a little bit bigger so folks can see. And just, I don't know, they get good reviews. The people who have them love them, but the number of people that have them is very small. They are quirky looking little cameras. I think the show title should be Quirky because I've used it now like 4 times. It is $1,000, but it's that Favion sensor, which is that layered sensor. Each captures a different color wavelength. It's supposed to give you really good results. I know it has some other issues, especially in lower light, that your more standard sensors don't, but you know, all right. Olympus style tough camera was the #1 seller. These guys have amazing, it actually even says microscope mode. I know the Olympus stylus cameras have a really nice macro mode. And super zoom, FZ2000, then the Coolpix, and then the PowerShot XS150. And now for sports.
7D Mark II.
No sport cams like GoPros.
Oh, I see. Surprise, surprise.
The GoPro Hero 3 Plus Silver Edition, which I published this out. They had a great deal over Black Friday, Cyber Monday for $250. You got the camera plus a SD card and stuff. So that outsold everything else. Then came the new one, the Hero 4 Black, and then the GoPro Hero 4 Silver for 400 bucks. That's the one with an LCD touchscreen built in. So that's exciting. Then the Sony action cameras are there, then back to the GoPros. And then the SJ camera is on this list for $80. I talked about this and sent you all off to that thing.
That's pretty good reviews.
It does have pretty good reviews. I'll be honest, I've taken this out with me 4 or 5 times now when I've gone to do other things to say, oh, I'm going to just set it up and let it run and then check video quality compared to my GoPro Hero 3 Plus. And every time I do, the battery is either dead or, embarrassingly, I've forgotten an SD card for it. So I have seen very little footage from this camera still. And I've noticed that it has no time-lapse mode, but I mentioned that and somebody else said, check your firmware because mine does. So I might need to update my firmware. But I hope to have more information about that soon, and then I hope to just pass it on to one of you all out there because, well, my favorite feature, I think I've mentioned already so far, is that it doesn't beep. It has little chimes. I can't stand the GoPro beeps. They drive me crazy. My GoPro might be looking a little bit fatter. We can talk about this. Yeah, okay, that's all of that stuff. So let me just mention really quickly, Wasabi has sent me their extended battery for the GoPro Hero 3 Plus. Now here's a standard GoPro battery. And here is the extended battery, this whole thing. That's a battery, that's all a battery, and you can see there, and it comes along with, to me this is worth 40 bucks right here. It is a dual charger. It can charge your normal GoPro batteries or your regular ones. It can charge 2 at a time. It just slides, a little USB slides in there. It's tiny, it works really well, and this is what's been wonderful. Typically, whenever I pick my GoPro up and turn it on, it's dead, or it's almost dead. And I have to go and find, I have spare normal size batteries, I have to go find a new one and put it in there. I've had this battery attached to it now for over a week. I've used it several times. Every time I pick it up, it's got charge. It's so nice. Yes, it's bigger, but as you can see, they send along a bunch of different doors. They send along an additional USB cable. That is wonderful. And I haven't done any scientific tests. Oh, actually I have. I've run time lapses. I just haven't counted the shots yet between GoPro, extended Wasabi, normal Wasabi. But I will do that soon. I think I have an extra one to give away, so that will be something that will be shared out soon. But my early thoughts on it are, it makes the GoPro so much less frustrating because when I pick it up, it's ready to go. Okay. Your turn to talk.
Quite the long monologue.
It was. I like to talk.
Okay, so here you get to talk some more. You published a video for the Sigma 18-300 this week.
Mm-hmm. Oops, wrong way. Would this be something you'd use at a wedding?
No.
Why not?
Because quality is not what I would want. Usually, as you have said in the past, those do-it-all lenses are just not quite there in terms of glass quality. It's just
sharpness.
Yeah.
A lot of chromatic aberration.
Right.
Some distortion, especially at the wide and telephoto ends. But as I said in my review, so I'm not going to repeat my review, but basically, when I shot with the Tamron 16-300 this summer, the newer one, I was pleasantly surprised. And so then this came out, and I think that those two lenses, Tamron 16-300, 18, I've been asked by more people to compare and contrast these lenses than any other lenses out right now. Pretty sure that's true. I was surprised by how often I've been asked. So I thought I would, and I did. And go watch the review. I think that for some people, it's a very nice option. Oh,
You unfocused us.
I unfocused us.
Great.
So?
And then lastly, well, 2 other videos this week. One was a photo critique that went out, I think, on Tuesday. So go watch that if you haven't already.
That was a good one.
And yesterday there was a Tenba bag video review. And the Tenba bag is actually one of the items in the current giveaway, right?
That's right. Now, I said in that video about the Tenba backpack, it is the Photo Tablet Mini Discovery Day Pack. The name isn't great. It is a fantastic little bag. I'm very picky about my camera bags. I've used a lot over the years, all the different styles. Some have stuck around longer than others. This is a nice little backpack. Carry the gear that you need comfortably, and it works really nicely. So I'm really excited to be giving that away along with the other stuff. And I mentioned this kind of lamely last week because I wanted to start the next giveaway because I said I was going to, but I did it kind of half-ass. So the rest of the stuff that you're getting is the Tenba bag, the Black Rapid Cross Shot. This is one of their newest strap systems. It's really nice. It's a little bit smaller, thinner, a little stylish.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
The small is good.
Small is good. Some of their straps are a little bit bigger and bulkier, but this is nice with just a little bit of padded shoulder. It's got the new connector so it can lock on there without you worrying about it disconnecting. Although I have to say, we've never had that issue. We've heard of the issue, but never had that issue.
Thankfully.
Now it comes with a little connector that you screw into the tripod socket of your camera. That's how the Black Rapids work. But I'm sending you along an alternative option, not this dirty cat hair sticky one. This is FP Gear, and this is a little Arca Swiss style compatible tripod plate. And here is why I love using this. And this is on my camera at every wedding because it's got a little flip out that allows you to attach a Black Rapid strap or a hold fast strap. And it securely mounts to your camera, same place as the other one does. But when you want to suddenly put it on I need to put it on a tripod. You just flip that down and you pop it into your tripod.
Or into your Benro Tripod.
Well, that's the only funny thing about this giveaway is that this plate is not compatible with the video tripod. There aren't any video tripods that use the Arca Swiss style compatible plate. So you need to go find yourself an Arca Swiss style ball head or tripod, or maybe you already have one. Or here is how you can use it, but let's talk. This is a review I did earlier this year. Fantastic. This is the smaller of the two. This is the Angel 2 video travel tripod from Benro. Fluid head, quick release plate up here.
They are really nice.
They are. The one thing, and I mentioned this in the review, that we found, and both of them do this, the smaller one and the bigger one, is when you put a camera on here, you slide it forward, and you go to lock it into place, this little tension knob that you use to lock it into place will often hit the camera. And then you can't. And you have to kind of carefully position the camera on here, and there have been a couple times where it's actually been impossible to quite get it without, whoopsie, it's still good shape because it's tough. A lot of rigmarole. Here is part of the solution. So you're getting the little FP Gear plate. It has a tripod socket on the bottom of it as well, so you can use it as a spacer. And when you screw it into there, then that's enough space for the little tension knob to be turned without hitting the camera. So it is useful. And many people have Arca Swiss style compatible heads. It is the, I think, most popular. I think it's the most popular. The other, of course, is your Manfrotto style heads as well. So I'm going to put that down there. And is that it? Is that everything in the giveaway?
I believe so. Are you going to talk about this? I don't see this on the rundown. We have a little flash.
This is a third-party flash, Avantech. You know, talking about the MishMash Roots. No, we're not going to talk about it. I need to review it and talk a little bit more. Right now, Young Nuo is still my third-party flash of choice. Although I know Ruby is a strong strong believer in the, I think it's the Gotex.
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 Or Godux.
Godux?
Yeah.
We don't know. But we know that they make third-party flashes too, and we have heard good things about them.
Yep, so that's everything.
That is everything. I just want to go back to this FP gear real quick. When I got mine and screwed it onto the camera for the first time, a little bit of glue oozed out below the rubber plate, and it has since picked up every hair it's ever come in contact with, including cat, human, alpaca, etc. And I complained about it a little bit in a review. When I talked to the guy, I actually talked to him on the phone about being part of this giveaway. Really nice guy. He said, you know what, we had heard your review, somebody passed us that, and I wanted to let you know that we use less glue now. So I haven't screwed in the new ones they've given me. I'm leaving them in the nice shiny package, but it should not ooze out glue anymore like that. So I think these are really neat little things.
Nicely done, camera wreck, Toby.
No, nicely done FP gear, guys, for listening to criticism and saying we're going to fix that.
Okay.
So let's put this down there too. And did we do the Teotronics lamp?
Not yet.
Okay.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about the Teotronics.
I'm really excited about that.
Well, again, so, the whole reason I started these MishMash videos was I had all these little things that I didn't have time to make a whole video about. And so I'd this is what I'm talking about, and I also would, put stuff out there for you to say, God, yeah, tell us more about X or whatever that's boring. One of the other things that doesn't really fall into the photo category so much, but
it falls into the nerdy techie category.
It does. It does. So this is a lamp from Teotronics. And I'm going to add it to my gift list. I've actually had it longer. I meant to put it on the gift list early on. And
you just touch it?
Yeah, it's touch sensitive. You're going to want this now, aren't you?
Nope. I like my impractical, old-fashioned, very good-looking.
Christina's very stylish. And so
what does relax mean?
That starts the jazz music.
Wait, reading. Ooh, reading.
Well, see, they can't really see. Let's turn it so they can see the LEDs. So there are these LEDs up here. There's 3 rows of LEDs. There's bright, clean white ones, and then there's ones with a little bit more warmth or color to them. I have this set up usually on my desk right behind my monitor, and I have to say I really like the light output. It has those different modes that you just said. Why don't you read those to us again?
Reading, which is the one that is on right now, just changed it to reading, which has a combination of 2 whitish, bluish, and then 1 yellow one in the center, one tungsten-y one. And you can make it dimmer, and then it has a study one. Dim that down.
This is fascinating.
Let's see what's the difference between the two.
Between which
one
two?
is bluer than the other. The study is bluer.
I'm sure that scientifically it's going to make you study better.
Then there's the relax one with a little coffee mug, which is yellower, so it's warmer. And then there's the sleep one.
The sleep one.
Is super warm.
Super warm and super dim. And then there is, no wait, did you do it right? Oh yeah.
There is a timer.
And then there's a timer. And it is just touch sensitive, so you just touch it real easy to come on and off. And when you press the timer button, it'll go off in 60 minutes, and the little on-off button flashes to let you know.
This is really cool.
It rotates, it bends in several different configurations. And as I said, I have it sitting behind my desk. And hard to see, but there's a little USB port here for charging. So you stick yourself a little USB cable in there.
And it's not that bad looking. It's definitely not my style, but it's not, it's nice.
What is your style? Would you describe it so people don't know? Oh, now that you've cleaned your office, we should give people a tour of your office.
It's not finished.
Not finished being cleaned?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a multi-day process.
Hey, let's give people a tour of this space.
Oh, but this is full of stuff I have to give away. So
yeah, sure.
Okay. My space is messy too. So, the Teotronics Sells for $64. They've got a newer one that sells for a little bit more.
And it comes with a cleaning cloth?
It did come with a cleaning cloth. I'm not sure where that is now. But I was excited. And I really like it. It's nice. It's going to go on my gift list as something that isn't directly photo related. But light is important when you are looking at your monitor and editing images.
Is it?
Isn't it?
No.
Really?
I mean...
You want the light in the room to be even and not too funnily colored, strangely colored?
No, you don't.
Because it's going to be reflecting off your monitor and giving you a false sense of the look of the images?
No, that's when you look at physical prints.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. So when you're looking at the physical prints...
You probably want to look at them under a color balanced light, which we don't know for sure if this is color balanced. So, but it's cool that you get the different colors, so you can see it under different colors. So,
yep.
But no, that does not affect. I think the only thing that you should keep in mind when you're working on a computer and editing pictures is if you do have a light on, it should be pointed behind the computer or in a place where it doesn't cause glare, because that's going to be really annoying.
Yes.
So, also don't place your computer screen facing a window, because that's also going to be glary and annoying.
Yep.
So, unless you have a matte screen, I don't.
Right. Does Mac even make matte screens anymore?
I don't believe they do.
But other people do.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So, in the week ahead, look for that interview that Toby was talking about earlier with Nathan Smith from Nathan Smith Photography. He is a wedding photographer.
He is a wedding photographer. 32 years in the business.
Yeah. Who resides in Italy.
Yep.
He's a super nice, funny guy. I really enjoyed hanging out with him in Italy. And I think you'll enjoy watching this interview.
That's right.
So keep your eyes peeled for that. So now we're going to talk about news.
What do we have on the news?
Well, 70 Mark II studio samples.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, let's compare and contrast. We had a article that I republished this week from clarkvision.com. Now, I hadn't heard of this guy before, but he takes scientific analysis of cameras and sensors to a whole new level. If you're itching for the nitty-gritty, if you want a scientific mathematical formula that lets you know when it's time to upgrade, he's got it for you. Well, some people like that. Some people like that. It hurt.
I know.
It literally, somebody else commented this too. I'm not stealing your comment. I feel the same way. It literally hurt my brain to read it a little. But basically,
where's that sleepy light?
He said 70 Mark II is awesome and is by far the best Canon sensor so far. And he's clear he's very Canon positive, very Canon centric. Last time he reviewed it seems like any other cameras was back in 2007, 2008. If you look at his little review database, I could be wrong, could be something newer, but it didn't seem like that. That's not bad. I'm just kind of setting the context. And the way that was read, and some people came along and read, my summary of it is his conclusion and said, better than the 5D Mark III. No. He's compared it specifically to the 6D. What he was talking about specifically that was the absolute best Canon sensor so far is the banding in your shadow area. So your noise banding in shadow area is best on the 7D Mark II. That doesn't mean that the images are cleaner. It means that as you bring exposure up in your shadows, you're less likely to have banding, which is this kind of bars of varying...
They're bands.
Bands of... Colors.
Yeah. They're really ugly and annoying.
Yeah. They detract from your pictures pretty significantly. And the key to avoiding them is to have a proper exposure so you don't have to bring up your shadows much.
Right.
Or to avoid taking pictures with shadows in it if you can. That's not always possible. So that's good stuff about the sensor. And it balances a little bit of the DxO Mark saga. Not really a saga. But DP Review has now published some studio samples, and they do a really nice job, and they allow you to compare side-by-side cameras and it's the same as I've found. It is a tiny bit better than the 70D. Still not on full frame level. I didn't expect it to be. I don't think anybody expected it to be. These bigger sensors can just gather more light and have cleaner, higher ISO images. But the one thing that I want you all to hear here, and it's something I talked about with Nathan, it's something I've been talking about with other people recently, is a good exposure can really do wonders for high ISO images with any camera.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure you're on board. You can shoot with the old 7D at 3200 and you have a nicely exposed image and it not be too noisy.
Yep.
Maybe even a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. Don't worry so much about pixel peeping. Worry more about really getting a good exposure. Now, what's difficult is when you're shooting in challenging situations that make it challenging to get a good exposure, and that's when bigger sensors are nicer or having a sensor that works well. So, 7D Mark II, all in all, decent sensor, a small step forward on the Canon side. It does feel like it's a little bit behind others when we start to compare it to some of the others. What's next?
So this is from Petapixel, and it's a rumor that Canon is going to get serious about mirrorless in 2015, and that they have a full frame MILC in the works. What does MILC stand for?
A mirrorless interchangeable lens camera.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Petapixel just swiped this from Canon Watch.
And you swiped it from Petapixel.
No, I went to Canon Watch.
Oh,
but
so you swiped it from them too?
Well, I'm not swiping anything. We're just talking about it. So yeah, we've heard this for a while. The SL1 was Canon's kind of attempt to do a mirrorless sized camera that is still a traditional DSLR. Notice that we didn't see that SL1 anywhere on the list of APS-C sized DSLRs, even when we went on to the middle of page 2. I wonder how far back we have to go before we hit an SL1. I'm just scrolling back through,
far.
And it's really far. So there we go. That's on page 2 still, the SL1 body only. And then the one with the kit lenses, and that's 75 to 300 again. That lens haunts me. Okay, so are you excited about a mirrorless camera from Canon? Possibly one that is full frame?
Yeah, I think so.
Why are you so hesitant?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to not have to carry such a big camera.
Mm-hmm. You already have lots of Canon lenses.
Right.
Or Canon compatible lenses.
Yeah. I mean, if they made a really killer camera, I would be very excited.
Yeah. Your hesitancy in your voice makes me feel like you don't have much faith in the fact that they will make a killer camera.
Well, we're seeing, in the Black Friday or Cyber Monday sale list, that it was really Nikon that sold, most in pretty much every category. So I think that Canon's really falling behind and they're realizing it, and I'm not really sure. I think maybe they've been distracted by putting out their cinema lines, their cine lenses, and I feel like those are products that are kind of exciting that have taken a lot of resources to bring out into the public and to make available. So maybe
they're going to step up.
Maybe they are going to put that off or kind of focus back on their not DSLR but I guess MILC market and realize that if they don't step it up, then maybe we will start switching to Nikon. I have our friend Steve. He switched to Nikon for all his studio work.
He did?
And he's super happy.
You didn't tell me that.
I did tell you. I'm pretty sure I told you.
What is he shooting with?
I think the D810.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For studio work, I would suspect that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I should chat with him some more about making that switch. Yeah, I feel like Canon is so worried about cannibalizing the sale of their own lines that the idea of a killer mirrorless camera from them, again, they're going to come back and say, well, we don't have to make a killer one because we've got killer lenses, killer selection of lenses.
But they don't, because do I still have my microphone on? No.
Okay, let them.
Okay. So yeah, I mean they don't really, because so they have the 70-200, which is a really nice lens. They have the 85-1.2. They have, they have the 24-70 and lots of other nice lenses. But then Sigma's come along and put out a really nice line of lenses that are much nicer than Canon's like high-end lenses. So they're not really, and I can get that those Sigma for Nikon.
Right, that's true. And you can even send your Sigma lenses in and have them mount switched for you, so you keep the same lens.
That is awesome.
I think it costs about $200.
I mean,
so
if that's the case,
you are changing a lot from what I think just two or one podcast ago, where someone said, "Are you concerned about what the 5D Mark IV is going to be like? Is it going to be, not too exciting? Are you worried about that it's not going to be groundbreaking enough?" And you're like, it's fine.
Well, there's a part of me that doesn't really care about like cameras as toys and just kind of more of a tool that gets the job done. But then there's also part of me that's kind of bored with what Canon has been doing. I mean, the 5D Mark III was great, but
and is great.
It's also lacking in many, many ways. So
what would do you want to name any upgrades?
Well, okay. One of the things which I'm convinced it's a firmware issue, it's not even, like a hardware issue, is when I am focusing and I move focus, or I move from one focus point to the other, I have to move the focus point, like either top, bottom, left, or right, one, and then come back to the, just to basically make it light up so that I can see where the focus point is, which is really challenging in low light situations, because I have no idea where my focus point is, and I'm trying. I just all I want to do is focus, and I have to find
the point.
I'm not expressing myself the way that I want to, but it's really that's something that's really frustrating, that I believe the Canon 5D Mark II did. Just to have that every time you press the back button to focus, that button lights up. It does not do that really in the 5D Mark III. And I have to, move it around, which is again really annoying. Yeah, I mean that's one of the main things that come to mind, but I don't know. It's a really it's a nice camera, but at the same time, looking at some of the files that come out of the Nikons, they're really nice. Ever since you did the side to side comparison with the Sonys, I've just been really disappointed with the lack of dynamic range in the Mark III sensor. Compared to the Sony. So I hope that if they're going to put out a new camera, that it's really,
Yep. Well, Corey wants more 5D Mark IV rumors, and Canon Watch or Northlight Images has them earlier or just a few weeks ago in November. It seems sometime in mid-March. Maybe a little bit earlier, because we've got CP Plus in mid-February, which is a big photo show. So
cool.
We should know more soon. And yeah, of course, we'll keep you updated. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, so next thing on our news section is Casio or Casio. 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 They have released a Kawaii Selfie by Mirror Cam. The name is really interesting to me. It's like Kawaii Selfie by Mirror Cam. Is Mirror Cam like a department, a branch, like a
I have
But
no
what is
idea.
mirror cam?
But
Who
for
is mirror cam?
$330, you can get a little point and shoot camera
Selfie cam
that has a mirror on it that you can use to take pictures of yourself. Now, we're making fun of this, but we also, one of the reasons why I liked the A5100 that we took to Italy was because the screen flipped all the way up.
Yeah,
so we took selfies.
Yeah, but
But
you're talking about that camera, which has a really nice sensor, and you can put different lenses on it, versus this, which just looks like an iPhone with a mirror on it, or like a smartphone with a mirror on it, and no smartphone. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. I just like to point out that this is on Petapixel, but the original article was on Engadget. And
That's
in
where I am.
neither one of these places, okay, so here are the sample shots. I was just gonna say there were no sample shots, but I'm seeing them now.
Nobody can see your sample shots on your screen, but
Okay,
they can see
well,
them on my screen.
and
She looks like she's about to lick the balloon.
she does, and they're all pretty crappy. They all kind of suck. Yep.
Yeah.
So why would you spend $300 on?
Doesn't everybody have a phone that is already a selfie cam?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Why?
I mean,
Speaking of silly products, remember that wearable action camera, the Panasonic, the one that
looked
had
like
the
a
little
worm?
cord? Sure, looked like a worm. That's what you remembered. Or your finger. I saw that was on Cyber Monday Super Sale for like $170.
oh
Go
God.
figure. Why is it marked down from $300 to $170 when it's only been out for a few months? Because it stinks, and or their marketing department is terrible. Or I should say their marketing department is not GoPro.
Can I just say I called it?
Sure. Christina called it.
Well,
that
thanks
back
for letting
in
me have that.
whenever it was, that it would not sell well. I agreed. I said it would not sell well. So yeah,
Okay.
selfie camera. Why'd we bother to talk about that? I guess because it was kind of humorous.
It's humorous, and I don't think it's going to sell very well.
Okay, so we'll check back next Cyber Monday.
Also, let's just point out.
Pointing is a little rude.
Let's just point out that it's in pink and white and like a mint green. So, do you see yourself owning one of these based on the color alone?
The mint green makes me think of My Cousin Vinny, which is a wonderful movie that we saw some of again at my mom's house.
Because of the car?
Because of the car color. A mint green. I don't remember the rest of it.
Okay.
Thumbs up if you like My Cousin Vinny movie. Next article.
And the last article, also from Petapixel, is the top 10 most Instagram locations of 2014. So we are just reaching that time of year where there are going to be
lists.
top.
I love this.
Top everything.
Honestly,
lists.
Not being funny. This is one of my favorite end of the year type things. The lists. I'm going to come up with my top 10 GoPro list soon. What I've done with my GoPro in the past year, top 10 things.
Why don't you think about that?
Okay.
And then let us know later.
I'm going to.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. One involves sushi, though.
So this article is the top 10 most Instagram locations of 2014. And so in descending, or I guess ascending, depending on how you want to look at it. So number 10 is the Dubai Mall in Dubai, UAE.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep, interesting.
Really odd to me. I thought this was really odd. Yankee Stadium in New York.
Yep.
Do that many people really go to Yankee Stadium?
Well, if there's baseball games, and I guess, yeah. Well,
but like go there and Instagram it.
Okay, and then number 8?
Madison Square Garden. But there are concerts that happen there.
That's true. Yep. That's true.
So
Concerts and various sportsy things. Well, aren't there concerts that happen at Yankee Stadium? Don't they do some concerts?
Probably.
We have no idea.
Yeah, I really don't know.
I bet they do.
The Red Square in Moscow, Russia. Cool.
Okay. It's a very cool place.
The Louvre in Paris. Very, very cool
Very
building.
cool, very photogenic.
Gorky Park in Moscow. Yeah, that's the thing about Yankee Stadium. That is not that photogenic.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that. Okay, Gorky Park, also in Moscow, Russia.
You said that one already.
4, Siam Paragon Shopping Mall in Bangkok, Thailand. This looks really cool.
It does.
It's a cool building. I want to go there. Number 3, Times Square, New York, New York. That
would be one I would guess.
Yep. Number 2, Dodger Stadium in LA.
Well, yeah. See, that's
I
even
guess
stranger.
just a lot of people, but
yeah. Oops, I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, that is even stranger than Yankee Stadium. I guess we're just like not sports people, so we don't really know about these things. And
Don't let them know we're not sports people. I love the sports ball. Goal, score, yay! I do actually like to watch some sports sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we do.
Tour de France.
And
football. Number 1.
Disneyland.
Disneyland. What isn't on this list? The Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
The Eiffel Tower. I would think that everybody would Instagram the crumb out of the Eiffel Tower. More so than Yankee Stadium. Or Gorky Park, Russia. Yeah,
I mean, isn't Paris like one of the top travel
Paris is number
tourist
6
destination?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Louvre, just the Louvre.
And how about the Colosseum?
Colosseum, yeah.
You know, I'm really bummed the Colosseum's not on this list or none of the places that we've been. Have we been to Times Square this year?
Well, that's kind of cool because they're not like.
We did go in the spring. That's right. We could say one of our pictures counts. I don't think we Instagram from Times Square. Okay.
No, I don't think so either.
All right.
All right. Well, that was all of our news stuff for this week. So we're going to move on to our discussion. And if you were following our posts last week, you will have seen that we put out a few holiday wish lists.
Yes.
So do you want to start by talking about your holiday wish list?
Well, you know, I'm going to pull it up, but you know, looking at time and thinking about reader questions, and I don't know if we want to spend a lot of time talking about it, but basically gone through, picked some items that I think kind of at every budget level, from the big or the medium, like a prime lens. If you don't have a prime lens yet, Christmas, holidays, it's a great excuse to pick one up. And let's not have a discussion this time. You know, most of our discussion was going to be kind of touched on already. When is it time to upgrade cameras, especially when we're talking about like maybe from a T5i to a 70D, or a D5300 to a D7100, or the bigger jump from an APS-C to full frame. And the answer is, if someone's not paying you, again, if this is a hobby, I think you're going to be a much better investment for a lens or glass. Unless you've already acquired really nice primes, then, and you're feeling limited, then maybe you can move up. But even if somebody's paying you, like, you know, yeah, there are better cameras out there than the 5D Mark III on Nikon. We could spend a pile of money and switch over to D810. But really, would the results be that different?
Probably not.
No, they wouldn't be that different. Not worth all the time and the hassle and things like that. And new bodies, they're fun, they're sexy, it's exciting, something new, it's got a different button, it's got a new feature, but that's not going to make you a better photographer. That's not going to improve your images as much as a lens. Right. And prime lenses are a prime. She's not paying attention. Example.
No, I was paying attention, you just weren't funny.
A prime example. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Some prime on the macro, the extension tubes I talked about earlier this year. That is a very affordable way to do some nice macro photography. Tripods for every budget. Although I didn't put any big serious tripods on there. The trigger trap, another fun little gadget, not very expensive, but really gives you a lot more functionality with your camera. And so these are little things you can add instead of going up to a whole new body. Cleaning cloths, your strap.
I'm just going to say, like, if you just get
Like if you up and get like your friend or significant other or family member a cleaning cloth for Christmas, I don't know.
Stocking stuffer.
Okay, yeah, sure. Stocking
Okay. The drones, the sliders. I'm excited about my Nebo slider. Organization systems. I have to say, we've been recommending the Gepe card safe for quite a while now. It's out of reach. That's the little SD card and CF card holder. We're starting to become less of a fan of that.
What?
The Gepe card safe.
I've never really been a huge fan, other than they're waterproof.
Completely. When your stuff is in there, it is very safe.
Yeah, but it's like it hurts my fingers to get the cards in and out of it. It's like I thought it would break in somehow, but it's still doing that.
Yep.
And
it's rough on SD cards, because if you look carefully at where SD cards are joined, they're two halves. And the way the rubber keeps them, when you pull it out, at times you can be applying more pressure to the top than the bottom. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to my first iFi card. It split at the seam, and I've seen another card tending in that direction as well. So I've got this Think Tank SD Pixel Pocket Rocket. Holds 9 SD memory cards. Maybe not completely waterproof, but certainly very safe in there, all bundled up with a nice little lanyard for you as well. Good camera bag. I love this Tenba bag. They're making great bags, but Think Tank also makes great bags as well. They have so many different styles. A little Instamax printer, which is a cool little Wi-Fi printer. The thermo lens mug. This one, my mom got me last year, I think, the Canon mug. Fun little gift. You can be silly with it, pretend it's a lens, and like throw it at somebody and have them have a heart attack when they think you're throwing a real lens at them. Well, I learned it from David. Yeah. This one I've never seen before. It actually has a lens-looking cover that goes on it as well. So, and then that the GoPro. I think last year's Hero 3 Plus Silver. When I look at the features I've used on this camera, I've shot 4K with it. Well, mine only shoots 4K at 15 frames a second. And it shoots 2.7K at 30 frames a second. I never use that, really. So I would be perfectly happy with the silver version. It's got the Wi-Fi. It's got 1080 at 60 frames a second. It's got the 720 at 120 frames a second, I think. Full 12 megapixel resolution. I think that's a really sweet price point. And then the next one to go down to is the very new Hero, which is the budget one that James just won and I have to ship off. Gift cards, a little bit less personal, but for photographers, I asked you all a couple weeks ago how you feel about gift cards, and many people say thumbs up, because that's what I ask, because people get all confused. Us photographers, we're fairly picky at times about what we're getting, and so it's dangerous to let a lay person, the normal folk, buy us photo gifts. And so gift cards are a nice way to do those things.
Yep. So my turn.
You've got, we want to just talk on a couple things. I want to give you the hurry up signal.
You've just been talking for
I just
like
want people to know
hour.
that when Christina gives me the hurry up signal, it's not you all that she has in mind. She's not worried about you being bored or tired.
No, but I am.
You are tired of sitting there.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. Let's talk about your gift guide.
Okay. But I do think of viewers when I do that, because we have gotten comments about the podcast being too long.
Yep.
And I am certain that you guys skip over stuff. There's no way you don't, because
some of them don't.
You couldn't possibly want to hear us talk for this long. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not just being selfish, but yeah, sometimes I just, like at the beginning of this podcast, you were just like, talk. And I was just like sitting here. So.
You want to talk about your gift guide now?
Sure. So I'll be quick. I think my favorite thing on here is the Ona bag insert.
The Ona bag insert.
Yeah.
You have that, don't you?
That, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do have that.
Yep.
And that's why I'm recommending it, because, you know, if you are a normal, aka layperson, non-photographer, and you don't know what to get a friend or family member or significant other, this is kind of a really cool thing to get, because it's really versatile. They can stick it in like a shoulder bag or a purse. You know, male, women. It's unisex, so you can gift it to anybody. I think it's like $50, and it's really well
So
made.
69.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 50.
Yeah.
But it's really well made, and
A little pricey.
I take it with me to travel. I mean, there are others on Etsy, but I really do stand behind Ona's products, and I think they're pretty solid.
You've got a couple other Ona items on your list.
Yeah, and I really do think that it's a really nice product that, you know, anybody who receives it will really enjoy. So the next thing is a camera strap, also from Ona. It's just really cool. If I had it, I would be pretty happy. The Holdfast, which I also already have, I love it. It's really, really, really nice and comfortable. Then there's the Ona Brixton Messenger camera bag. I love that these don't look like regular camera bags, you know, like your standard black zipper, like sort of bulky type thing. You can wear it on an outing and people don't,
I say the blacker, the more straps, the more zippers, the better.
Yeah, you love straps. Like dangly straps everywhere, like 20 million zippers. Anyway, I mean, to each their own. But to me, I like simplicity. I like leather. I think this is a really beautiful bag, and it does not look like a camera bag. That is not to say that if you take it to a really busy, like big city, that is going to be very inconspicuous. But it doesn't look like you've got camera equipment in there. The Lens Baby lenses are really fun to play with. They're a little pricey, but kind of a cool.
Give us a little bit more idea of you know, what do these Lens Babies do? They're funky little things.
Yeah, so they're just lenses that allow you to be a little bit more creative with your composition. You put, you know, different focal lengths, and that you can turn them. You can turn the lens. So it's kind of like freelancing, but you don't have to
actually hold the lens.
Right, yeah. Like have your sensor exposed.
For those who don't know, freelancing is when you actually remove the lens from your camera and you hold it there with a little bit of a gappy, and it gives you this kind of very blurred effect on the edges and one area in focus. Right,
so it's like freelancing, but without the danger of injuring your sensor, and with a little bit more control over where your focus point is. And yeah, I mean, they're like a fun and kind of affordable. Well, they're a little pricey, but they're cool. You know, they're cool lenses. Yep. There's the Sigma 50 f1.4 lens, which is one of my favorite lenses. The 35 f1.4, also from Sigma, which is also one of my favorite lenses. And then some cameras. I really like the Fuji Instax 210, and I like the black, the landscape one. Those are nicer, I think, pictures of the what would you call them? The photos themselves are bigger than like the smaller. I have the narrow one, and I don't really love that. The GH4, I really had a lot of fun taking video with that this year. The Fuji X-T1, I would love to have that. Obviously can't justify it because I don't really have a reason to own it. The Canon QL7G3, which is an old film camera for all of your analog loving friends. You can get it on eBay pretty cheap, and you just have to like kind of MacGyver a little battery thing so that it works. And then gift cards. Also, I definitely agree that gift cards are the way to go if you don't know what to get your fellow photographer. Great.
So shall we move on?
Yeah, reader questions.
Reader questions.
Let's read them.
I think this is the person who commented before. Michelle? We did the bad job before.
It's Michelle.
I don't think it is. Wants to know how to clean microfiber cloths.
Stick it in the wash?
That's what I've always done. Corey found some nice little microfiber cleaning cloth that he suggests.
You clean your cloth with a cloth?
Sorry, microfiber cleaning solution.
Got it.
So, That's what I would say. I think you do want to be careful about just throwing them in the wash with laundry detergent because the residue gets in here, and then you are likely to residue up whatever you're trying to clean.
That makes sense.
So I'll be honest, don't feel like I clean them very often.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many of them laying around that I think we don't really
throw it away when it gets dirty and get it. No, I don't like that kind of
that's
attitude.
Wasteful.
That is wasteful. So there's that.
Corey wants 5D Mark IV rumors.
Told you, mid-February to mid-March. We're nervous with excited anticipation. Dalibor Sony A7 Mark II, yes.
Oh, Dalibor, we didn't wear our paracord
no, they're downstairs.
bracelets.
Dalibor, thank you so much.
We will wear them
We came
next
back from
week.
Thanksgiving and there was a present there from Dalibor and they were wonderful paracord bracelets,
We were
which
so happy.
I've actually wanted one for quite some time.
Aw. Thank you. That was so thoughtful.
That's very thoughtful.
We will wear them next week. We meant to wear them this week, but we weren't organized enough.
So Sony A7 Mark II looks wonderful. You know, it is using that same sensor basically, so we're not going to see differences there, but it's, is it the same sensor? I think it is, but that's that image stabilization built in. That's nice. That's nice. You know, I really like the Sony A7. Native lens selection is lacking, but whew, that's a nice camera to walk around with. Ursula
This says,
is great.
Went to a photo lab counter to pick up my pictures. I found out that they had been flagged for possible copyright infringement. The technician said that the photographs looked too good compared to their usual customer orders. This has never happened to me. I was able to convince him that the pictures were mine and chuckled that I will gladly take that as a compliment. But it got me thinking, how do I prove that the pictures are mine? Is it enough that my name is in the metadata? And Elton responded, find a new photo lab, which is what I would say too.
Well, first off, a huge compliment. I remember one day when I went to pick up some pictures from a local photo lab, and I wasn't accused of copyright, but there was this one kind of waterfall picture I'd taken, and the guy was like, this is amazing, and I was like, yeah, somebody liked my pictures. So the fact that they thought they were professional, consider yourself a professional now, Ursula. Yeah. I mean, you know, a good photo lab should be easily able to pull up your metadata and see your name in there. That should be enough. We've heard stories of folks going and trying to get wedding photos printed and people saying, no, you need a signed release from your photographer that says you can get these printed here. We've heard of that story before. If you're the person, what do? You show them on your phone, you say, here's the pictures, here's I've taken them, or you back of your camera. I don't have any good solutions other than that. Elton's a find a different photo lab. I would say that maybe you're actually better off returning there now because this is your picture, and if it's the same guy, if they don't have a lot of turnover, then they'll say, oh, that's Ursula, she takes wonderful pictures, and one time I thought that they weren't her, but now I know that they are.
I'm totally stalking your Facebook pictures, Ursula. And
you have some really nice photos.
You have some really nice photos. And there are some with, I guess, are these big oak trees?
The live oaks.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the Spanish moss. And then these cotton fields, too. They remind me of Charleston, South Carolina. But I don't think it's there. But they really remind me of that. Yep. The Boone Plantation is where I've been. That it has a driveway just like this, with the live oaks and the Spanish moss, and a cotton field nearby. They're beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful pictures.
Okay. JCB says, how about making some ultra technical articles / videos about photography? The link you shared about the 7D Mark II sensor was super interesting, and overall the site describes many interesting things, especially when Roger Clark, so this is at clarkvision.com, explains how to determine whether or not you're ready to upgrade. No. I do not enjoy that part of photography that much. I think there's not any, negativity towards Clark Vision. I think what he's done is amazing, and I'm really glad that there are people like that out there that do that kind of thing and are happy to discuss it. But I want to keep it simpler. Well, I say that, and there's always room for growth and changes and stuff like that. And I like you said that, I do a good job of dumbing things down.
I mean, I say yes, but not in that way. Not in the same vein as this article. But I think that we do have a lot of information that we want to bring out to you guys, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. But we do have a lot more advanced and sort of like nichey, not nichey, but like,
I don't know where you're going, but let me say,
just more specific, advanced information about lighting, about portraiture, about photography in general that we would like to bring out to all of you.
Right. Yeah. Before people get too critical, where this Clark Vision guy is coming from. He has got a formula where he's talking about the micron size, the lens, the pixels down to the micron sizes, and comparing and contrasting. And I don't want to spend time doing that. I just want to spend time reading other people's thoughts about it and saying, yeah, that's what I thought. Because basically he's saying you're going to see an improvement when you move up to full frame, but when you're comparing sensors of current generations to full frame sensors of current generations, especially just among Canon, there's a difference, but it's not a huge difference. And real world results that you're going to see are a lot more important to me. And this can give you some idea, but I think you can spend a lot of time sitting here reading all of this and ending up at a place where you're agonizing over data, and the reality is if you had spent that 2 hours taking pictures, you'd be better off. I don't mean to make that sound snobby at all, because again, there's value in this.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's limited in value to a degree that I don't personally want to spend time talking about it.
Also, I think it's fair to mention that, I'm not saying that you are not capable of doing this.
You're about to call me a big dummy.
No, yeah. I'm just saying that would you have been able to come up with like that data? No. So
no. Well, yeah. I mean, I would be able to come up with it, but
to that that level of detail.
I've never been aware of that formula used.
So there are limitations to what you can bring.
Yeah.
But I do think that the real life examples are more valuable for most people than like microns.
Yep. And well, Elton's asking, upgrading from a crop to a full frame. Among Canon right now, I don't think for most people it's worth it to move up from the 70D to the 60 unless you're really shooting a lot in lower light and you can withstand the slower focusing of the 60. The 60 is a nice camera, but I don't think it's necessarily worthwhile to move up to for most people. Buy yourself a nice lens. You're going to see more of a result from that. I'm repeating myself from earlier in this podcast already, so I don't want to say it too much. Now, jumping ship from Canon, the 70D and going to something like the Sony A7R, that's a pretty significant difference, and might have value for you if you really want to take these amazing landscape shots. But you have to be realistic. Look at what you're doing with your photos. Look at what you want to be doing with your photos in a year, in 2 years. And I would not be quick to upgrade bodies. It can be fun, but financially, it's not usually the best path. If you're financially perfectly sound, you've got extra money, this is a fun hobby, do it. Have fun, because that's what it's about. But if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck, buy yourself a nice lens, or just keep shooting with what you got. And the nice thing is there'll be better stuff next year, and that will be a more significant upgrade. There is a time and period to upgrade bodies. It's usually not a 6-month generation or even a year generation. I shot with my entry-level Rebel for 5 years, and I only moved up. It was only too little camera for me when I started shooting and getting paid to be shooting, and I needed a camera that performed and had a deeper buffer.
Yeah. That sounds like a pretty good note to end on.
Well, no, because I want to answer Roger's real quick because he had it up a while ago. He's asking about ND filters. Is this podcast going to be about 90 minutes long?
Yes, that's why I was trying to wrap things up.
So I just bought myself a standard. There's two types of ND filters. There are your standard fixed light blocking or density. This is a 0.9. And then there are your variable ones where you can turn and they give you more or less. The variable ones are very nice for video because they give you flexibility in shooting in all different kinds of conditions. I think for photos, the fixed ones are just fine. I've been happy with this Tiffin one. I think you can get a lot more value from the fixed ones, but you are giving up some of that flexibility. Hoya has some nice variable ones. They're my current pick for you're on a bit of a budget. I can't remember what my top pick is because I was talking with Ben, and they just switched from the Stingray to something else as their top pick because the Stingray folks are difficult to work with. A very good variable neutral density filter is in the range of $300 to $400. I haven't done careful side-by-side testing, but I wager that you will not see a difference between that and a Hoya, even pixel peeping. They're just, the differences aren't that large. So I'd go with a Hoya. I'll try to remember what my more expensive pick is if you really want to spend more money. And I would go with a Hoya standard. 0.9 is good. Well, it depends on what you want to do, actually. So, Roger, let's talk a little bit more. You asked a while ago. Maybe I'll go back and try to dig up your post if I can remember to do that. Okay. Christine is looking at her Facebook. I think it's time to wrap up. And yeah, well, just going to remind you, you can enter to win all that goody stuff down below. And true fans that are still watching, next week's podcast, going to have, the one giveaway will be over. I got a couple of little things I'm just going to give away on the podcast, just here, just now, on the podcast next week. Thank you so much for watching all of this.